Okay, so we're going to be doing something slightly different now, although it's still on the subject of the Sopranos. It is going to be, well, it's not obvious it's going to be on the subject of the Sopranos, but let me explain what this is first of all. That'd be good. This is the Campaign Trail Showcase, that's one of its various names, also known as the Campaign Trail, the New Campaign Trail, one or two other versions. Anyway, it's basically a text-based simulator of mostly electoral type events, this is the New Jersey gubernatorial election of 2013 mod. And so you can see a picture at the top here of Chris Christie, then governor, and in the background you can see I think it's not Newark, it will be Trenton, presumably, the streets of Trenton, I don't know, the capital. Then you can see another picture of Chris Christie here, and this is the introductory spiel, which says, after the event of Hurricane Sandy, which was in 2012, the year before this, and Governor Christie's much approved response to it, his national profile is on the rise. As he heads into his re-election campaign, he has every reason to expect a layup. Even though New Jersey is a solidly blue state at the presidential level, Democrats at the state level are essentially retreating from this race. Top prospects within the party like Newark Mayor Cory Booker have opted to run for Senate instead, leaving the Democrats with no bench to challenge him. So there's no way he could lose, right? Well, this is where, if we click continue, and I'm going to quickly turn the volume off, of the song. Woke up this morning because, copyright or whatever. Tony Soprano. There's a picture of Tony Soprano and there's a picture of Sil, Tony and Paulie at the top as a banner. And so, Tony Soprano is the Democratic candidate. So it says Tony Soprano, Party Democratic. North Caldwell is his home town or whatever, region or whatever, not state, is it? Anthony John Soprano is a waste management consultant from North Jersey, a legitimate businessman and nothing else. Any insinuation that he's involved with organised crime is wrong, a stereotype, and is offensive, and it's the last thing I'd want you, the player, to perpetuate. Note, this scenario contains heavy spoilers to the Sopranos TV show, so that will become clear. And the running mate is Ronald Zalman, home state Newark, Party Democratic, of course. Ronald Zalman is the current state senator for District 26 in New Jersey, which includes the North Caldwell municipality that Tony resides in. Zalman thinks that Tony is crazy for trying something like this, but when Tony invites him to a nice lunch at Satriali's to preposition him with being his running mate, he knows he doesn't really have a choice but to go along with it. So that obviously it was going to be Zalman he chose as his running mate, wasn't it? So, got 25 questions. Let's just explain how it works again. 25 questions that you have to answer that affect the mod, the game. It's a text base, so your actions matter, your answers matter. So let's just have a cup of tea, a swig of tea before we start this. And so it says, you and the DeMeo crime family have fallen on hard times, and with Governor Christie's relentless prosecution of mob activities across the state, it seems that further decline is inevitable. You've always been an outside-the-box thinker, though, and you decide that maybe the only way to get Governor Christie off your back is by beating him at the polls. Yeah, so that kind of sets up an interesting, conflict, doesn't it, with Christie being the mob crackdown governor. I mean, I don't know if that was the case so much when during the show, whoever the governors were during the show, I don't know if they did that as much. But yeah, Christie being the enemy of the mob is sort of a good thing for gameplay purposes. So there's only one answer here, and it says, I guess we got to give this governor thing a try. Seal, I'm going to need you to be my campaign manager. This thing of ours might just depend on it. Yeah. In a shock to pundits, you've won the Democratic primary. You and your goons were able to hijack the party line system and kick any other prospective candidates off the line. However, you find yourself trailing in the polls by double digits, with many Democratic voters recording and discussing pledging to cross the aisle for Christie. What will be your strategy? Still, it's obvious that if we're going to win this thing, we have to establish trust. The best way to do that in New Jersey is to show who you know. I happen to know Greg Shano, the Rutgers whatever coach. Let's see if we can get him on board. This Christie fuck people like him because of the bipartisanship reputation he got after hugging the president. Well, I can be a cool common sense factor as well. Let's talk about how we're going to cut down on crime across the state, something I think can appeal to both sides. Yeah, sorry, I just realised, cut down on crime. All right, Sil, let's just run a nice generic Democratic campaign. People like Obama, don't they? Let's run some ads praising his response to the fiscal crisis and that whole healthcare thing he did, as well as a few statements about how proud I am of finally having an African-American president. Probably not stuffy to say, is it? We're going to have to be aggressive if we stand a chance of beating this fat fuck. Let's run some campaign ads about how Christie totally fucked up the budget process in 2010. That stuff he did with the teachers' union, that was some real shady shit right there. So I'm not choosing this generic Democratic campaign. I don't think I want to choose the Rutgers one, not least because I can't pronounce the word properly, or even his name, the coach, whatever. I'm always tempted with the cut down on crime because it's just so shamelessly cynical and hypocritical. It's just cynicism 101, really, isn't it? Yeah, I am going to try that. Yeah. This isn't a good strategy, Tone. Christie used to be a prosecutor or some shit, and there's just no way that you're going to come off as more credible on the issues given the reputation that you have. Okay. How are we doing? Yeah, we're losing by almost 20%, so... Essex County is our home county. We're winning that by 30, but that's because it's got Newark, the city of Newark is in it, I believe. So if we lost that, then that would be a turn up. You selected State Senator Ronald Zalman to be your Lieutenant Governor, or I think Lieutenant Governor. It's America, isn't it? What was the rationale for this pick? Well, me and Ronnie, it's like a yin and yang sort of thing, I'm an independent-minded businessman who created many jobs at places like Barone Sanitation, Ron, however, is an experienced assemblyman and can really help me with bringing forth the sort of outsider change I think this state needs. Or, I've known Ron for a long time and we've had a lot of adventures together in the past. I think we'll make a great team when elected, yeah. Like beating him up because he slept with your Goomar, yeah. Former Goomar, actually, at the time, yeah. I like the whole outsider change thing and running on that independent-minded businessman as well. The press does not take seriously your assertion of being an independent-minded businessman, but this otherwise does the trick. By emphasising Zalman's experience, you manage to convince sceptical Democrats that you'll run a normalish administration. Bad news, Tone. There's been an announcement that the Attorney Generals of Maine and New Jersey are collaborating into an investigation of the death of Febby Petrulio, a rat that you killed almost 15 years ago in Maine. How are you going to respond to this? Let's just keep our heads low and say nothing. This shit happened so long ago, and it's unlikely that they have anything. There's just no fucking way they have anything. This could be an opportunity, actually. Let's have a press conference outside the Ping. The Ping. Sorry, it's just... It's such a great idea, isn't it? Outside a strip club, a campaign. Well, I guess Trump has done that at some point, hasn't he? But, even so. Yeah, so maybe it isn't a bad idea, but... Oh... Anyway, this is already brilliant so far, isn't it? Anyway, and outside the Ping and claim that Christie's using this as a way to smear his upcoming opponent in the election. Is he really so desperate that he's influenced the DA, District Attorney, to falsely accuse me of murder? Or shit, I've got to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to grab my family and wait till it's out in Florida for a few days. Well... Yeah, so this is where you have to. This is where your knowledge of the show can come in handy. Playing this game, I think it's the only game of its kind for the Sopranos. Yeah, for the Sopranos, I mean the silly the Road to Respect game doesn't really have that aspect. Knowing a lot about the show, it's just a separate plot that they created for it, and then what other game? There's a Sopranos pinball game, which I've never played, but yeah, that might have some of I don't know. Anyway, never played it. Yeah, and obviously you have quizzes, which I've done many of the Sopranos, but yeah. This is the only sort of kind of game where knowing a lot about the show might come in handy. So on that basis... on that basis, I'm just going to, given it what I know it was 15 years ago, and I know that the way he murdered him, they're probably not going to find much unless they find a record of him heading up there at that particular time or something. But yeah, that's what I'm going to pick. You were right, Tone. There you go. My knowledge did come in handy. They found nothing. This incident is quickly forgotten, and it does not affect the race either way. So yeah, basically let's go on a separate little tangent here. The kind of regular mods of regular elections, they're about they usually have some question like that, like the previous one, where there's some big scandal and you choose how to respond to it, and you can choose. It's usually the best thing to not respond to it. It's usually the best way. It's a little tip if you're playing any regular mod on this. Anyway, so question 5: given the lack of grassroots or high dollar donor support for your campaign, fundraising has gone low. Even your business endeavours do not render nearly enough cash to counter the Christie machine. What are we going to do about this? Let's try to really connect with the young people online. Here there's this app, Twitter, that might really be the next big thing. Let's have AJ make some posts on my behalf for my campaign. He understands his shit better than I ever could. This is what... Of course, towards the end of the show, AJ was really addicted to the chat rooms. Then, wasn't it? Like who's 607, more chat rooms and social media. But yeah, he'd be good at that. So might keep that in mind. Second option is we all know that New Jersey politics is about who you know and what you can do for them. Get that Norcross fuck from Camden on the phone, and we'll have a little conversation about some of the perks of a potential Soprano administration. We'll really have a chance if we can get the endorsement of him and some of the other power brokers. While I'm not really educated on a lot of this social justice shit, when Meadow was in college, he worked for a law centre representing primarily black and Hispanic people who couldn't afford attorneys. I bet she could really make my case to a lot of minority groups will need to win. Let's get me and some of the guys on the campaign trail to do some door knocking. I'll take Penny Fazio Portian out in Puco with me. So again, there's where my knowledge of the show comes in. When they did that before, they got beaten up. There's a huge punch-up with almost a riot on the Christopher Columbus Day thing. So I'm not going to choose that. And obviously I've mentioned the AJ thing and is online prowess, so that's a decent option. But actually the Meadow thing is also a decent option because, American elections are in the modern era, certainly they're not about convincing people that you're the right person. They're about basically getting people who are already likely to support you out to vote, and that's a very depressing fact. It doesn't strike me as what a liberal democracy should be about, but you know what I mean. But whatever. That's where we are. Anyway. But what I am going to choose is the second option, actually. Talk to some influential people. That's how it works anyway, usually, isn't it? So, yeah. Good call, Tone. Norcross and you quickly come to an understanding, and the South Jersey machine quietly yet effectively starts to turn its gears on your behalf. In New Jersey, going from mob politics to plain old politics isn't exactly the biggest jump. No, it isn't. I'm sure it isn't. So we're closing the gap slightly, so that's okay. While most Democrats don't want anything to do with you statewide or nationally, you know that a potential endorsement from Cory Booker might really turn the tide of this campaign. He agrees to a meeting with you, and you need to figure out who's going to be the arbiter of this whole thing. I really hate to do this, but I think Little Carmine might be our best option here. He can be a persuasive guy as long as it doesn't go south the way that sit down with Leotardo went. Well, I was going to mention that, but it's mentioned it for me, and that's why I'm not going to choose that option, I don't think. Easy, I'll bring my wife Carmela and the kids to the meeting. Who doesn't love a good family man, right? Isn't Booker... aren't there questions about his... Oh, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Probably makes sense to have my running mate by my side for this. He's a politician after all, and so is Booker. What could go wrong? Yeah, that seems like the best option again, Zalman. In theory, you would be right. In practice, though, Zalman comes off as a timid little weasel. That makes Booker reluctant to get anywhere near you. He agrees to endorse Democrats across the board, but he's not going to name you specifically. That set us back a bit. Question 7. Christie has an unfortunate gaffe at a rally today, referring to you and your supporters as a ragtag group of wise guys. This broadly seen as a discriminatory statement against Italian Americans. Your response? Let's not pile on here. I don't want anyone drawing attention to me or my statements in general. Let's just wait and let Christie shoot himself in the foot. I don't care what anyone, including Christie, says. I have a vowel at the end of my name, and I'm fucking proud of it, and I teach my children to be proud of it too. Don't know if it's going to be the best option, but I like that, so I'm going to choose it. 3 cheers for Mr. Soprano. A good response through and through. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. Went well. Another day on the campaign trail, or title drop. What would you like to discuss? Infrastructure. This state needs new roads, bridges, whatever. I know the construction business better than anybody, and you can bet I'll grease the wheels and get our state moving again. Taxes. This state needs lower taxes, and I'll discuss how balanced budgets at my business is like Barone Sanitation. How I balance them at Barone Sanitation. If I can do it there, I can do it in the government too. We need an outside perspective to clean this state up on balance. Social issues. I think we really lean into this pinko hippie shit to get progressives to support me. I hate to do it, but we'll head down to Aylesbury Park and discuss my support for gay marriage and how I promise to protect LGBTQ plus minorities when I'm governor. Yeah, Tony wouldn't do that either, would he? I like infrastructure. I'll go for that option. Way to get that crowd fired up, yeah. I'm just going to say, I think I might add this, find a way of adding this to TV tropes if it's not already on there. The Sopranos entries on TV tropes. Yeah, it needs to be noted on there, I think, really. Yeah, not many Sopranos games of any kind, as I've said. So, yeah, just checking something else there, sorry. Question 9. Christie is eager to debate you. He knows that he can probably smack you around pretty good given your lack of experience. How are we going to deal with this conundrum tone? All right, I have an idea. In order to have an excuse to duck the debate, that's a pun, surely. I'll arrange a phony union strike the day of the debate, and that way I can take the moral high ground by appearing in solidarity with the workers instead of debating Christie. Fuck that shit. I don't want to get embarrassed out there. Let's just run some advertisements instead and hope that no one cares too much. Let's debate. Let's throw a wrinkle in there by challenging Christie to a town hall style debate. Talking to ordinary people, I bet I can be more charming and a politician like that than that prickly fuck. I guess we don't really have much of a choice. Let's do the best we can and hope that Christie doesn't embarrass us. I like the town hall style. Tony's very emotionally intelligent, and that would work well. So I'm going to choose that option. Yeah, this works out perfectly. Christie came off as buttoned up, angry, and condescending, yelling at an NGEA representative. You yourself came off as receptive, charismatic, and even seemed to woo a young woman who asked you about your position on equal pay. I can imagine that. You may eat beef and sausage by the carload, but you've still got that Italian charm. Beef and sausage. Yeah. So the debate, how did that affect us? Oh, we're still 16.5 down, 16.4 down. 15.4 down. We need to. I do, from what I know about New Jersey electoral politics, this is Ocean. Yeah, this is the Republican stronghold around here. Ocean and Monmouth, and up here in Sussex. Well, these two here. Look at the populations, and Burlington as well. Look at the populations. So we probably need to get at least 75 in Newark or Essex County, I should say. Morris County, that's strong Republican as well. Maybe up towards 70 in Hudson. That's obviously eating more towards New York, isn't it? From my geographical knowledge, yeah. One day you're on the campaign trail, title drop again, when a reporter asks you about the mental health crisis in America, particularly among young people. Is AJ going to come into this? I think that more guidance counsellors in schools, as well as paying more attention to internet consumption, are all good starts. I don't mean to sound like an old man, but we can't just have our kids waste their lives and become depressed of these stupid chit-chat rooms we see popping up. Well, they could have mentioned AJ there, couldn't they? Yeah, mental health and young people, got to do something about that. It's an overwhelming world for kids these days with the computers and the tablets and the phones and all. You know, my son, here we go, has actually struggled a lot with mental health. I'm not going to get into the details as that's private business, but it's made me think a lot about the situation and what we can do to fix it. I think that while we need to focus on our kids being tough, like Gary Cooper was, there's also a time and place to be sensitive about these things. And the last option is, this mental health shit, it's important, sure, but kids ought to toughen up as well. It's not like you ever saw Gary Cooper complain about being picked on. I like, again, the whole emotional intelligence thing, relatability thing, and such like. I think my hope, if we mention the whole AJ thing, my hope is that maybe the Republicans will do some digging into what we're talking about with AJ, and that will look insensitive on their part, and that could work to our advantage as well. So yeah, I'll try that option. And it says, most young people don't know who Gary Cooper is. Okay, probably not, no. But your comments on balance are well received. Your comments on balance on balance are well received, yeah. People especially relate to your experiences. There we go. I use that reasoning, dealing with AJ's mental health issues over the years. Yeah, so I'm getting the hang of this. I'm getting the political nous, that political instinct is working well for me, I think. Well, we're still 12.9% down, so yeah. At a fundraiser, you're caught making an unfortunate gaffe about Governor Christie's rate. You're caught on tape saying, speaking of things... Oh, here we go. This is going to be great. Speaking of things that weigh £98, I hear Governor Christie's getting a £95 mole taken off his ass. What is your response? Well, let's not respond like Ralphie. Let's not apologise. Look, there's no other way of saying it. I've got to apologise here. Not only were my remarks insensitive, they were also frankly a bit hypocritical. I mean, as my Uncle Junior once said, I've never exactly had the makings of a varsity athlete. That is actually quite a good line, to be honest. Look, this was a big misunderstanding. I obviously want to keep this campaign about the issues, and this was an insensitive remark on my part. And the next option is the same. So I guess the feedback, the feedback and the consequences of either of these two are going to be different. One of these, different for each of them, yeah. And the last option is, look, I could have worded it better, but is it really such a bad thing to question whether someone as a heavyset as Governor Christie can serve in office? That's all I was trying to say. Well, it is when you're as big as he is, Tony, isn't it? Let's be honest. That's a terrible option. So I like so I know I said I wasn't going to apologise, but I think adding in all that stuff about Uncle Junior might be quite effectively more effective, as little Carmine would say. This still hurts you, but you limit the damage with a sincere apology. Fans also appreciate your self-deprecating humour. It's not like you're an insecure guy or anything, right? Yeah, I remember seeing a summary of the boss. The boss is in the show. Well, it's on TV Tropes actually, and basically said Johnny Sack's main vice is insecurities. Tony's main vice is his big ego, which is probably quite a good summary. Yeah. So. Question 12. Hey Tone, I got some unfortunate news. Your sister Janice has made some pretty controversial statements to the press about the supposed danger of vaccines, saying they cause autism in children. Guess he's using the media spotlight to push the newest woo-woo crap. My sister has the right to her opinion, and that's that. Not that I agree with it. Aren't there better issues to be discussing here? I do like that option. My sister really ought to keep her mouth shut. All due respect, she knows absolutely nothing. I don't want anything to do with her. Look, well, Janice is my sister. I have to disagree with her here. I know that vaccines are safe and effective. Look at my daughter Meadow. Carmela made sure she got those vaccines and she ended up going to Colombia. Well, maybe she's got a point. You never know what the government is up to these days, and I can't criticise my sister for being a skeptic. We are family, you know. Yeah, so obviously this is before the whole COVID controversy about vaccines and all that, but I think if you just kind of dodge this issue, click the first option. This response is okay, but most of your supporters would like to see a stronger condemnation of the anti-vax movement. I think, as I said, it's before the COVID thing where it became sort of a partisan issue. I think if the anti-vaccineism at this point wasn't really... It was sort of mixed, almost, based on partisan allegiances, I think, really. But yeah. Yeah, anyway. No, I don't want to get into that subject. Question 13. You were approached by Jared Kushner and his father-in-law, billionaire celebrity Donald Trump, at a private fundraiser. Here we go. They both have an axe to grind. Kushner wants to render mouth of Christie's prosecution of his father all those years ago. And Trump wants to clear the way for himself to run for president in 2016. Will you accept their support? I didn't know that Christie had prosecuted Trump, actually. I mean, Christie supported Trump in 2016, although Trump did kind of push him around a bit even when he was supporting him, but yeah. Yeah, well, we have to work with him, that's the only option, isn't it? Trump is a delusional clown and that Kushner is a shady fuck as well. This could work in your favour, T, but you have to be careful. Wow, yeah, you always have to be careful, don't you? After a meal at Vesuvio, you'll find yourself sick with food poisoning. Sometimes you think that's Artie is conspiring to kill you. Him and his fucking experimental dishes. Deep down there, you know he's just a moron. Fuck, I gotta lie down. Those are the only options. Those are all the options, what I say. So, you have a nightmare in which you relive your killing of your nephew, Christopher Montasante. The dream is distressing, but when you wake up from your slumber, a new campaign focus comes to you. New laws cracking down on intoxicated driving. You focus on the topic. Your remarks on the topic are well received. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice little... Giving us a little bump as well. Didn't need to do anything as such, really. Another day on the campaign trail. Who do you want to meet with today, Tone? Let's meet with some businessmen. Got to make sure my campaign's coffers are filled up. Let's meet with one of these animal rights groups. Can't hurt to have these fucking idiots who don't want anyone to eat meat on my side, I guess. I hate to do it, but let's meet with one of these shouters for battered women. The topic makes me depressed, but it's important. I think I'll go for that one, actually. Just trying to go for the kind of hypocritical. Let's go for the... Well, no, he doesn't treat women as badly as some other characters, shall we say, does he? So yeah, we've chosen that, and it says, you're initially uncomfortable, but then you see a sacred-looking young woman who has a striking resemblance to your daughter Meadow. Admit it, you always had a soft spot for these sorts of things. You're able to put together an unscripted emotional speech that connects with the women there. And yeah, we are closing the gap a bit. Newsflash, you're still behind in the polls, and we're thinking the best way to spice up this campaign is with a good catchy campaign slogan. Any ideas? So the options are fucking espresso cappuccino. We invented this shit. In my head, I use a technique of positive visualization, so how come I always feel undermined? Death just shows the ultimate absurdity of life. That's not a good one, probably, for a campaign. Or those who want respect, give respect. I think it's got to be the last. Then none of them are that good, are they? But those who want respect, give respect, I think. Yeah. This is a little old-fashioned, but it connects with certain voters. Not bad tea. Yeah. What are your plans to help the elderly of New Jersey? We plan on revitalising a lot of the infrastructure relating to elderly people particularly. We need to have better funding for nursing homes across the state so that the elderly can get the care they need. And we plan on revitalising a lot of the infrastructure relating to elderly people particularly. We need to have better funding for retirement communities across the state so that the elderly can get the care they need. Nursing, yeah, let's say retirement communities, yeah. Got to say that rather than nursing homes, haven't we, I suppose. Even from beyond the grave, Olivia Winterson discussed your wording. You can't just admit that it's a nursing home, Anthony. You hear that voice in your head say, the public likes this response, though. So, yeah. You are asked a question by a female reporter about Columbus Day and whether you think it's still appropriate to be honouring him in the year 2013. You know, this Columbus shit, this whole controversy, why don't we all just mind our P's and Q's and be like Gary Cooper, strong and silent? This isn't the kind of thing the voters care about. In my house, Christopher Columbus is a hero, end of story. You know, it's hard for me to totally orchestrate a guy. He's a point of pride for a lot of us Italians who still feel a sense of discrimination. With that said, he certainly had his flaws, and I hope that the Italian and Native American community can come to a greater understanding about this whole thing. Yeah, you know, sweetie, you're starting to sound like a pinko commie with that kind of question. Of course, Columbus is a hero, and anyone who says otherwise is an anti-Italian racist or won't want anywhere near my campaign. So I think this third one is the best kind of need at strangling the needle or whatever it's called. You get a lot of shit from Paulie and the guys for such a weak answer, but they're satisfied with your reasoning that it's the only way you're going to win this election. Yeah, good job, Tone. A court case has just overturned restrictions on same-sex marriage in New Jersey, meaning that gay marriage is legal across the state. What is your response to this? Actually, I bet I had him pegged the whole time, but these union guys, they don't want to be seen with him anymore, and these are $1 million deals we're talking about. This whole fucking veto thing, fuck. I'm getting a little dizzy. Well, the lesbian thing with Jennifer Beals, it's not bad. I don't give too much of a shit what people do behind closed doors with consenting adults. You know, I agree with that sanatorium or whatever his name is. That. So, yeah. So all line. So I think this third one is possibly the only one. No, I think they're all lines from the show, aren't they? But this third one seems like the best answer for this situation, I think. You've worded it crudely, but nevertheless it ultimately comes across as a good liberal answer that will motivate your base, yeah. The final debate is coming up. How are we going to prepare for this, Tone? I know it sounds crazy, but let's have Paulie play Christie. They strike me as similar in certain ways. Skiff it. I think our numbers are in a good enough place that we can get away with just running ads instead. Let's have Meadow prepare me. He knows a lot more about this political stuff than I do. Let's have Little Carmine play Christie. He's a smart guy, right? No, let's avoid Paulie and let's avoid Little Carmine. We're not going to skip, so let's have Meadow. Pundits agree Christie should have better command of the issues, but Meadow's preparation allowed you to nearly come across as equal. Not a bad result at all. Question 21. Carmela comes back home from the grocery store and she got you orange juice. You look at the box and it says with pulp. How do you respond? Thanks, Carmel. Thanks, Carmel. Next time, though, you could get the one that says some pulp instead. Yeah, this is a great scene. I like the one that says some pulp, not this much. I want a divorce. If I were married to Jeannie Cusimano across the street, I bet she would have remembered to get me the one that says some pulp. That's the most civilised answer of the first one, I guess. So yeah, Carmela's a little bit annoyed at your ultra-specific Jews' preferences. But it could have been worse, yeah. It looks like that whole arrangement with Trump and Kushner has paid off. They've uncovered a potential scandal so big it could derail Christie's entire campaign. Wow, what the fuck are they waiting for? Release that shit to the public. So I wonder what it is. This would be interesting. Oh, we haven't pressed it. The Bridgegate scandal, of course, yeah. The Bridgegate scandal hits the news just a few days before the election, and it's shocked New Jersey and throughout the state. Prepare to see a massive boost in the polls. Yeah, so this is a scandal that actually broke in real life, I think in 2013, 2014, yeah. It would have been 2014, yeah. So what's that done to the polls? Oh, we're in 1% now. Oh, we're almost there. You're approached by Agent Howard, your old friend at the FBI. He's generously given you a tip that Trump is violating campaign finance laws in order to support you, and that he's planning on telling the Bureau that you coerced him into doing it. It's a lie the agency is eager to believe, and Harris admits this could land you in prison for the rest of your life. Well, there's only one thing left to do now. I see what you mean, Tone. Oh dear. Oh dear. You have sanctioned a hit on Donald Trump. It's the only option if you're going to win this election, avoid prison and keep the DeMaio crime family alive. So who do you trust to execute this monumental task? Oh dear. Patsy Parisi, he's the most reliable guy we still have. He'll get the job done. Besides, his son is married to my daughter. How about Butch DeConcini? He's a New York guy, probably knows where Trump feels safe and shit. I'm not sure I trust him fully, but me being governor would be good for New York, so he has incentive to be a team player. Try Benny Fazio. He may not be the smartest egg, but he's a ruthless fuck. I have no doubt that he'll succeed. It has to be you, Sil. You're the only one I trust. I think we're going to give it to Benny. We're not going to give it to Patsy because he's got a grudge against us over Philly spoons. Butchie, we can't give it to a New York guy. By that point, New York hates New Jersey, the mob. Sil, I've got a feeling something could go wrong if it's Sil, even though he's smart. Benny, we're going to try. Criminal mastermind, Benny's not. Trump is gunned down, but Benny's getaway driver panicked and fled. Hours later, the FBI knocks down your door to arrest you. Even worse, Trump's wounds were non-fatal, meaning he'll be around to testify against you. Oh dear. So, yeah. Yeah, we're a bit, wow. Hunt and... Yeah, if we're losing Morris County by that much, we're not going to win. And there's a big third-party surge, it looks like, as well. Essex, 58.5 in Essex, yeah, we're not going to win. Monmouth, Somerset, Camden. Well, he's probably not going to win by... He's not going to get much over 50%, Christie, it looks like, but... What about... Ocean was hammered in Ocean, of course. Atlantic, Burlington... Cumberland... Is going to end up with just over 50 because these last counties are going to be closed. That's why they haven't released their results yet. Oh, the guy who won this county down at Cape May was won by Kaplan, apparently. Yeah, and Christie just over 50%, 50.1% for Christie, 37.8% for us. So actually not bad in the circumstances, is it? We got busted by the FBI, for goodness sake. Yeah. So this is the ending then. So just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. These are the words that echo in your head as you're arrested by the FBI. The same way you saw your father get arrested at that carnival all those years ago. Sure, you've been publicly humiliated by law enforcement before, showing up to your house and arresting you for that gun charge that Neil Weasley got you out of. Judging by the tears welling in your wife's and daughter's eyes, though, you can tell that this time is different. You may have dedicated your life to this thing, but you never thought it would end like this. On the cusp of victory, you only to have it all go wrong at the last second. In moments like these, you think to yourself how you've grown so pessimistic that your inner conscious sounds dangerously close to how your mother sounded in her later years. That thought disturbs you even more than 30 to life in the can. Yeah. Yeah, disappointing. 10 days later, as you sit in your jail cell, you hear a voice you thought you'd never hear again. After all, he finally did his job getting you here, but nevertheless you look up and see Agent Frank Cubatuzzo, the same smug grin on his face that he always does. So, are you finally ready to talk? Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a good. It could almost be an episode of The Sopranos in itself, really, couldn't it? You know. Yeah. No further reading. Well, it should say watch the show or something, shouldn't it? Over 46 minutes. So about the length of the Sopranos episodes. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So I think I might do another one at some point, of another playthrough, so you get an alternative ending or whatever. How actually win the election or whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and hopefully you did too. And thanks for watching.